Assalamualaikum and good evening to all debaters and audience. The debate session will begin shortly. Me, Aiman Danial bin Pawan Chik, will serve as your moderator for today on the title of Nuclear Energy is the most appropriate form of alternative energy for Malaysia. First of all, let me introduce the both parties. On my left side is the proposition group, and on my right side is the opposition group. Before we start, let me explain a little bit about our title today. Nuclear power or nuclear energy is the use of exothermic nuclear processes to generate useful heat and electricity. The term includes nuclear fission, nuclear decay, and nuclear fusion. Presently, the nuclear fission of elements in the actinide series of the predictable produce the vast majority of nuclear energy in the direct service of humankind, with nuclear decay processes, primarily in the form of geothermal energy and radioisotope thermoelectric generators in nature, users making up the rest. Besides, today's debate session will discuss about several issues. The first issue is nuclear energy among others. The second one is effect of nuclear to the country economy, and the last issues will discuss about nuclear effect in terms of environment, health, and waste. Now I would like to invite Mohamad Nasrun Faris as the first presenter of proposition group to deliver his speech. You may start.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I, as one of the proposition member, would like to propose that Malaysia would need to use nuclear energy as the replacement energy. In 2009, it was expected that by Petronas, one of the national petroleum company, that Malaysia will be running low on oil and gas stock. As we know that these two main energy have been widely used in industrial sectors such as transportation and also in manufacturing sector. Many replacement of energy sources have been explored throughout this year. In 1998, Malaysian Nuclear Society have been purposely developed to explore the potential energy of nuclear, especially in Malaysia. Modern countries such as in Korea, Japan, United States of America, and also Russia have been used nuclear energy as the driver of the economic growth, technology, industrial development, and also for the environmental friendly. Based on the 2009 Malaysian budget that have been proposed, it has been prominent to say that nuclear energy will be used as the replacement for the main energy in Malaysia. Thank you.
Mr. Nasrun Faris for your excellent speech. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Ahmad Zharif from the opposition group to deliver his speech. You may start now.
Thank you to moderator and proposition side. To continue this debate process, I have my own content to oppose regard to this issue. In my opinion, nuclear power is too slow to deploy and it's too expensive. In comparison, renewable energy sources like solar and wind are safer, cheaper, and can deploy quickly. For our country, nuclear energy is not necessary because we already have sufficient natural sources to generate in our country. What we must do is we must improve the energy efficiency and reduce the high carbon activity in this process. A study has been made by energy experts at the Mountain Rocky Institute. They estimate that $1 invested in increased efficiency would save up to 7 times as much as energy as one invested in nuclear power plant can produce. It also can producing 10 times as many permanent jobs to our country. Worldwide, people have realized there are safer, cheaper, and renewable alternatives to nuclear. Combining this energy efficiency measure and renewable energy development would eliminate any justification for nuclear power. Thus, we strongly urge the Malaysian government to cancel its plan of developing nuclear power plant. Besides, nuclear is a centralized power source requiring large infrastructure, investment, and coordination where decentralized source can be more efficient, less costly, and more resilient. That's all for my part. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zharif, for your brilliant speech. It seems like the situation is getting tense right now. Next, I would like to invite Mohamad Irfan Rafie as the second presenter from the proposition group to deliver his speech. You may proceed.
Thank you for Mr. Moderator, Aiman Danial. Okay, as we know, nowadays Malaysia, we have many of source of energy such as oil, we call as petroleum, fossil fuel, hydroelectric farm, and so on. But we can know the energy is not continuous, which is the such as oil. We know oil and oil is made of from, for example, of fossil fuel, which is it it is a limit. So we do not know how much longer we can use this energy. We can look at example of from Petronas. They said that the gas supply for power sector in our country after 2019 will be uncertain, which means they don't know how much longer we will use the oil from the fossil fuel. So example in Gandu, we have gas for power sector in Peninsula, but in Sabah we have one such which is been sold to the Japanese under contract that run about 20 years. That's like Sabah, we have one power station which is been sold to the Japan for about 20 years ago, which it is lost to our country. So we need nuclear energy as the replacement to our resource. Like we know that gas, oil or oil will reserve will last for another 30 years. By 2014, next year, Malaysia is expected to import petrol for its transportation. Will all of this consumption is virtual import, which when we have lost all our development of oil, we need to import. So it's require high cost, so they are expensive to import to other countries such as Japan, Iran, Pakistan. So for the future type of oil, the type of oil should not be burned as the fuel, but used for higher value chemical, which point is expensive to our industry. For example, Iran, nowadays Iran as the world fourth largest producer of crude oil and the second largest exporter of petroleum, still going nuclear for strategic reason, which means for our country it's not higher, not the top development of oil, but we still need the other type of resource to replace the oil use. Also, we can maintain the economy, industry, and also maintain the development of our industry. Okay, compared to beside the oil, we can compare to the solar, biomass, which is the other renewable energy. This type of energy is not insufficient, which as we Malaysia of the development country, we need to tend to develop more the energy which is continuously for the future of our country. Renewable, as I said before, renewable energy so have their limitation, which like solar farm require a huge amount of land, and the installation cost is high, and also the wind of our country is not strong compared to Europe. So besides oil, we need to use solar we use nuclear as our energy. Okay, thank you.
For your speech. Now I would like to invite from the opposition group, Mohamad Bazil Syahir, to deliver his speech.
Thank you to the Mr. Moderator. As I started, I would like to recall what has been stated by proposition team before. He mentioned that petroleum fuel will be finished. For that statement, I think it's a little bit wrong because petroleum will never be finished, but it's only slow regeneration and take a long period. Second, our country not suitable to generate energy by using wind because our geographic factor. But both of these points not a reason to authorize use nuclear energy to nuclear resource to generate energy. This is because in year 1971, our country already signed a deal by all foreign ministers of ASEAN members, which are Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore. This deal states that our ASEAN region need to be free from the nuclear, and if we use the nuclear resource, we will break the deal and we will facing the diplomatic problem and other dominoes problem will come through. As alternative, we can use biomass resource to generate energy in our country. Why? This is because an environment organization have been report that in year 1975 until 2001, our country has been produced 7 until 61 million tons of biomass waste. If this cycle keep running and continue, our country will not have enough land to put all this waste. So, all the wastage such as palm oil waste, rice waste, timber waste, biogas waste, wood waste, paper waste, paddy waste need to be used and reduce the waste. So, this biomass resource is one of the great alternative resource other than nuclear. Last but not least from me, we need to save our country from pollution, wasting, and for the foremost dangerous situation. From that, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bazil Syahir, for your factual speech. Now, I would like to invite from the opposition group, Fahmi, to deliver his speech. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. As Bazil said before, oil is continuous forever. But the fact is, oil have limitation. It is an energy in form of fossil fuel. It will reduce from time to time until finish. So, in terms of economic issues, despite the costly capital expenditure, nuclear energy was cheap in the long run compared to fossil fuels and renewable energy sources. To import uranium, its price was low and has remained stable for the past decade. Malaysia has a long-term plan to become a developed nation by 2020, but there is also time when natural gas earmarks for the local power sector is expected to run out. This is a problem because since the 1980s, the country has been relying on heavily subsidized gas price to keep electricity rates low. If the country want to continue using gas, it will have to import at much higher international prices, which means that the electricity price will have to rise as well. Natural gas future in New York trade around RM13 per unit currently, while the local power sector now pays a fixed RM10 ringgit and 70 cents per unit. This price was the result of a hike in July 2008. Before that, the power sector enjoyed a price of RM6.40 per unit for a long time. But the gas price followed the oil price, which means that the buyer will be in for another rude shock when the oil price rises again. Nuclear technology has been the driver of high technology in the growth of economy. For example, in Korea, Japan and China. This cascade effect will also unleash high technology industrial development for Malaysia. Energy is the lifeblood of development and growth. Its security and stability of supply are essential ingredients for economic development, progress and improvement. Nuclear energy will continue Malaysia's good development in energy supply well into the future and spark a rapid industrial development, thereby improving the overall standard of living. This could be a stepping stone to move forward into hydrogen economy to replace oil for transportation. That's all from me. Thank you.
Mr. Fahmi, for your fantastic speech. Now, I would like to invite Mohamad Fauzan from the opposition group to deliver his speech. You may start.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. First of all, I strongly disagree with the proposition representative Mohamad Fahmi that said about we have to build a nuclear power energy plant in order for this country to have the low electricity rate. And I don't think Malaysia had nuclear resources. But if Malaysia have the nuclear resources, I don't think it will be sufficient enough to produce the electricity. So, like it or not, we have to import the nuclear resources from other countries, like Iran, and this will cost us a very much price. Yes, I agree with Mohamad Fahmi that said nuclear power is cheap, but to construct the nuclear power plant, it needs a high construction cost due to the complex radiation, containment system and procedure, as well as the high subsidy is needed for construction and operation, and also loan guarantees. This subsidy and investment can be spent on other solutions, such as to renewable energy system, and also to help the people who really need the investment and the subsidies. As I stated before, the nuclear power plant is the most expensive form of power and could not exist without a massive subsidies. As it is so expensive to build, the price of the electricity is needed to produce the nuclear power will increase. And besides this, a great deal of money has to be spent and accumulate large amount of interest before there is any revenue. And I also would like to ask Mohamad Fahmi, would these costs ultimately be transferred to consumer through a price hike? Now you see, you yourself cannot answer the question. Okay. In addition, energy will also be heavily subsidized, but most of these subsidies are hidden. For instance, the nuclear industry does not pay the full cost of the insuring against a catastrophic accident, such as in Chernobyl. Another subsidy for the industry is when the federal government normally pick up the tab when accident leakage or occur. Okay, that's all from my side. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Fauzan, for your superb speech. Now, I would like to invite the last representative from the proposition group, Aizat, to deliver his speech. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. As we continue to develop, more energy must be generated. According to an estimate, Malaysia will need 4 times current electricity generation by 2050. Continuing to rely on fossil fuels in environmentally polluting due to the emission of toxic sulfur and nitrogen oxide gases. Malaysia has the option of supplying electricity by increasing hydroelectric. However, this will be at the expense at our vast rainforest biodiversity, which is likely to be the future source of economic process. Malaysia is a small nation, but may contain half of the world estimate 50 million species. While the set of hydroelectric power plants sacrifice valuable land and biological resource. The use of fossil fuels for electricity generation often causes the release of toxic gases such as carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen dioxide being released into the air. Besides, the emission of carbon dioxide that arguably cause the greenhouse effect. Nuclear-based electricity, such as from fission reaction and with good prospect fusion reaction in the next 30 years, will continuously contribute stable energy supply and to the measures against global warming. Fission, as well as fusion, provides clean energy and contributes to the measure against global warming. Nuclear power, compared to the burning of coal and gases, is the least environmentally polluting source of energy. In comparison with other sources, it also has the highest power density per square meter of land use. Carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere in power generation. Nuclear reactors will be safe and operate in adherence to certain international standards set by the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. Nuclear reactors usually have several safety features to prevent catastrophic accidents. With solar and wind power provide but a fraction of the need, nuclear-based electricity generation will provide very efficient energy supply for the industrial development and domestic consumption. 1 NPP with 100 megawatts equal to 3 hydro substations of 300 megawatts. A model-sized 300 megawatt nuclear power plant on 100 acres of land will help to preserve Malaysia's most precious rainforest and supply uninterrupted, reliable electricity supply to the whole Klang Valley for 100 years. The top concern for a nuclear power plant is safety. As for the safety of a plant, there is an international nuclear safety regime based on the international convention, internationally accepted safety standards, and a system of peer review. For example, countries with plant must report every 3 years about the safety of their plant under detailed guidelines. Under the peer review, almost every plant worldwide must be inspected for operational safety by the World Association of Nuclear Operators, and this is repeated every 3 years. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Aizat, for your speech. Now, our debate session is almost to the end. I would like to invite Mohamad Anuar as the last representative from the opposition group to deliver his speech. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Okay. First of all, I agree with opposition representative Aizat that state that nuclear energy is a clean energy. But I strongly disagree that nuclear energy is safe energy. Okay. Using nuclear power may solve a crisis arising from the lack of fossil fuel and producing megawatt. But using nuclear power may solve a power crisis arising from the lack of fossil fuel and producing megawatt of electricity. But we need to know that nuclear power releasing almost permanent radioactive waste of plutonium, and the damage done by it far outweigh benefit. Okay. My point is radioactive waste costs more than pollution. The effect is just unimaginable when something bad happens. What is use? What use is sufficient power supply if the risk of damage done, if the power plant leak or something is huger? Okay. Okay. Second is, the problem of radioactive waste is still unsolved one. The waste from nuclear energy isn't biodegradable and extremely dangerous, and it has to be carefully looked after for several thousand years. It's about 10,000 years according to the United States of Environmental Protection Agency standard. Okay. To turn into nuclear power in Malaysia is illogical. The rate is very high. There have been many disastrous nuclear accidents over the world. For example, the nuclear explosion in Russia in 1980, which killed people and the radiation spread. Okay. Would Malaysia want to risk life, land and money? Okay. So, despite a generally high security standard, accident can still happen. It is technologically possible to build a plant with 100% security. A small probability of failure will always last. The consequence of an accident would be absolutely devastating for both human beings as well as the nature. Therefore, I oppose the using of nuclear energy in Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anuar, for your brilliant speech. Now, the debate session will rest for 2 minutes for both parties to discuss on your conclusions. The 2 minutes starts now.
I think we can
Masih lagi nuclear power to solve the matter. There is already spread around the area. Yes. Power. Economic when nuclear energy not environmentally
low electricity right is not what can happen. No, can
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2 minutes ends. Now, I would like to invite Ahmad Zharif from the opposition group to deliver his conclusion. You may proceed.
First of all, I appreciate with this enlightened debate and I'm very thankful that I can be here. As for my conclusion, my stand and I also believe my fellow comrade from opposition team is crystal clear that we are opposing the nuclear power plant for electricity. Nuclear power have many negative effects to the environment, economy and also to our generation. For reminder, the nuclear processing plant in Pahang recently killed an engineer that are working there. So imagine that if we have many nuclear power plants, how many lives would it cost? I believe we are not that desperate to have the nuclear power plant in our country. We have many resources that can be developed into produce electricity. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zharif, for your conclusion. Last but not least, I would like to invite Mr. Nasrun Faris to deliver from the proposition group to deliver his speech. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and also for the opposing team. As my conclusion for the proposition groups, I would like to state that Malaysia should have the nuclear energy for the replacement in the future. Why this energy should be used? First of all, this factor can be supported through the Malaysian Nuclear Society, which have been established well in 1988. The society, as we know that it is purposely been developed to thoroughly research the how we can use the nuclear energy in the future. Secondly, Bruno Combi, a president of Environmentalist Nuclear Energy, have mentioned in his recent article that nuclear energy power plant only required compact sizes. The area consumption for this power plant is as large as only a scale of football stadium compared to wind turbine, which required more and more area to producing more energy. Thirdly, improvement of precaution. As we know, although the consequence of leaking of nuclear power plant, which may result to hazardous result, but recent technology have been developed to overcome this problem. For an example, precaution system can be applied and also containment system can be applied on this power plant to overcome this problem. Last but not least, in addition, at 2009, Malaysian government have already proposing the subsidy for the nuclear energy. Thus, it is clearly shown that Malaysian government already started making steps to use nuclear energy for the future. Thus, this is my stand as the proposition team that Malaysian government should consider using nuclear energy as the main energy for the replacement in the future. Thank you. That's it for today.
Okay, thank you Mr. Nasrun Faris for your excellent conclusion. Now, our debate session had come to the end. On behalf of the debating organisation, I congratulate to all debaters on their performances, and I hope that all the spectators enjoy this event. Last but not least, I declare this debate officially concluded. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.